What's up, Closer Nation? Welcome to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm your boy, Ryan Stewman, President and CEO of Break Free Academy, and I'm excited today to talk to you about the rich getting richer. But before we get into this, because there is an explanation, right? And everybody's talking about these tax cuts and everything else, so I'm gonna get all into it. I'm gonna break it down for you, Stewman style, in this video. But before we get into that, real quick, you gotta make sure that you start your year off right. And you got to start your year off with the right people, because I know this: when you get with the right people at the right place at the right time, the right things will happen in your life. I've assimilated the right people in the right place for you, and it's the right time. The market is at an all-time high. The economy is booming. We did 4% GDP last year. There's been billions of dollars erased from the national debt. We are at a time, an economical time of thrive, right? Like, we are in an economical time of thrive. And so many people right now, they look around and they're like, okay, things are thriving. How do I make sure I don't mess it up? Or they go get in alignment with the wrong things. They make the wrong investments. They make the wrong decisions. I'm here to tell you right now, I've got the right things in place for you. And we call those right things Break Free Academy Entourage. You can align yourself with other winners, people that won't give up, people that don't quit, people that are staying focused, people that are staying the course and doing what it takes to survive, not only survive, but to win at life and to thrive at life. And you can talk about business, balance, body, the whole thing. We've got it all packaged up for you. We're going to teach you how to scale your business, how to scale your sales, how to run Facebook ads, how to create funnels, how to write books, like all the trainings that you could think of on building a bulletproof business with the right people helping you, mentoring you, coaching you, and even some people learning from you and your expertise, because I believe that everybody should come from a space of contribution. You can join all of that right now for only $300 a month, $297 a month to be exact. Just go over to breakfreeacademy.com/entourage. You get coached every single week by me. You get coached every single week by my copywriting coach. You get coached every single week by my funnel coach. You get coached every single week by my marketing director. Like, all of us are putting our time, talent, and treasure behind helping you out with the resources at breakfreeacademy.com/entourage. So speaking of people being successful, we have a tax cut that's been handed to us for Christmas, right, by our president. And everybody always says that people are going to find things to complain about. It's really odd that we're at a time, whether you like the president or not, it's really odd that we're at a time where people are bitching about tax cuts. Now, one thing that I know is I don't care who you are. If you're getting a tax cut, I applaud you. Because if there's one business partner I hate, it's the IRS. You work 100% of the effort. You do all the work. They want to take 30 to 40% of your income. And I know some of you are going, well, you need to do this and you need a better CPA. Listen, I don't want to be audited, and I don't want to get back in trouble anymore. And I don't pay any more taxes than I absolutely have to. But at the same time, the IRS generally makes more money than I do. Their portion that I cut to them is usually larger than the money that I cut to myself. And you could be saying, well, dude, that's crazy. You're doing it all wrong. That's just how it is in business sometimes. That's just how it is. The IRS takes a massive amount of money. So any of my fellow business owners and my fellow Americans and my fellow friends that can avoid having that roach of a business partner take your money, I'm going to applaud you. But you know, people in times like this, they say things like, well, it's because the rich gets richer. And I want to explain something. I always knew that that was true, because the rich do get richer. Because let's just take it back. And that's been a basic principle. It's a basic biblical principle. Now, again, just like a disclaimer, you would think Ryan Stewman, I would be Jewish, and I am not. I am not a religious person at all. I'm not Christian. So when I say a biblical principle, I'm just going to teach you something that's in the Bible and use a story that's in the Bible as a principle for how the world works, not to indoctrinate you with some religion, because I could care less what God you worship. But in the Bible itself, there's a story, and I believe it's in the book of Matthew, and Jesus is telling this story about the three people with the talents. And to one person, he gave 10 talents. And this person took these 10 talents and multiplied these talents into 100 talents. He gave another person 5 talents, and this person went out, and now if I'm butchering the story, forgive me, I'm not a preacher, I'm just telling you the story here. He took these 5 talents, went out, turned them into 10 talents, and the Lord rewarded him and let him keep his talents. Then there was one guy who was given 1 talent, and he went out and buried it, and the Lord took it from him. Now, here's what I know. In that story, that's talent represents money. And so in that story, that's a classic breakdown of the rich getting richer. The guy that was given 10 talents turned those 10 talents into 100. The guy that was given 5 talents turned those 5 talents into 10. The guy that was given 1 dug a hole and buried it. And when the Lord came to him and he said, I blessed you with a talent. Why did you bury and hide your talent? He said, I didn't want to lose it. Scarcity mindset. See, when someone makes a lot of money, they start to shift from this scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. And when you have an abundance mindset, you can do more than you did before. And when you can do more than you do before, you might invest in things you didn't invest in before, which might yield windfall profits because you can afford to take the risk. Therefore, the rich getting richer. Now, you can bitch about tax cuts and everything else, but the truth is the government knows that if they give tax cuts to the rich people, like I guess you would consider me rich, all things aside, I'm in the 1% of America, which is, 99% of people aren't in the income bracket that I'm in. So you could say I qualify for that, even though I think of myself as still like this poor guy growing up in the hood. But the truth is I'm in that 1%. And even me, like some of the things that I can do now to multiply my money faster, there's no way I could have done when I was broke. And I used to watch some people that were handed money, like our president. People say, his dad gave him $1 million loan back in the 70s. Man, he got a head start the rest of us just didn't get. But doesn't mean that we can't make up for it in the long run. It doesn't mean that we can't use our wealth to become more wealthy. Just because we didn't get 10 talents doesn't mean that we can't multiply the 5. And just because the guy multiplied the 5 and the 10 doesn't mean the story ends there. He could have continued to double his money and turned out to be Warren Buffett's the 3rd richest man on the planet. What I'm saying is, the reason why the rich get richer is because they don't hide their talents. You see, poor people, and I'm not just saying poor from a standpoint of not having money, I'm saying poor as a mentality. Because there's some people that are rich right now that don't have money in their bank account. They're working through it. They will eventually get it. They will eventually break through. And I pray that if you're in a rough situation financially right now, that's you. However, there's some people that decide to take that talent with a scarcity mindset and they hide that talent. They keep it to themselves. They keep it from sharing with people. And then they say, well, the rich get richer. But at the same time, they were still given a talent, but they chose not to utilize that talent. I want to share a story with you that really relates to this in a way that I couldn't tell otherwise. And it's a story about my 2 uncles. So I've got these 2 uncles, one on my mother's side of the family. Now I'm adopted, mind you, and one on my father's side of the family. And both of these uncles were given a tremendous talent with numbers. I mean, a tremendous talent with numbers, massive intelligence. These guys can spit off statistics and numbers within a matter of seconds. But one of these gentlemen owns one of my uncles owns the largest mortgage company, the largest privately held mortgage company in America, and probably 1/5 of the buildings downtown Dallas bears their logo on the buildings, while my other uncle is the greeter fellow at Walmart asking you want a buggy when you walk in there. Now, both of them were blessed with the talent with numbers like nobody else. Nobody else. These guys are the sharpest people with numbers I've ever met in my entire life. And one of them is worth almost $1 billion, where the other one doesn't even probably have a buck to his name. And the difference is what they decided to do with their talents. You see, my uncle that owns the mortgage company decided to take his numerical gift, his talent for numbers, and apply it into the finance world. And in the 90s, when William Morris, the cigarette company, lost the first $1 billion class action lawsuit, my uncle was one of the people that dispersed the funds and made a bunch of money from it. He was smart enough numerically to figure out how all that shit worked. I don't know how the hell he did it because I didn't get that gene, but he's smart enough to know how all that shit worked, and he's made an ass ton of money for himself, his partners, and the people that work with him along the way. Whereas my other uncle, who's the greeter fellow at Walmart, was blessed with that same gift for numbers, but he decided to use it selfishly, and he knows every statistic that the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks, the Detroit Lions, any sports franchise in history, he can tell you every batting average, every kicker average, every field goal average, how many catches, every statistic breakdown possible. The problem is nobody fucking pays for that. Or at least he wasn't. At least he didn't go out and try to get a job pulling up statistics for the NFL. He just sat there, consumed the information, and decided to be comfortable with life and gave up. Both of these gentlemen were blessed with $1 billion talent, but one of them doesn't even have a buck to their name because they decided to keep that talent to themselves and use it for selfish reasons as opposed to using it to figure out how to finance. You know, at one point they were doing I think it was $1 trillion a year in mortgages through just one of the companies that my uncle is an owner of. And meanwhile, the other one's literally offering people the buggy at Walmart with the same numerical gift, the same talent. The difference is my uncle at Walmart decided to bury it, Whereas my uncle that owns all the banks decided to enhance and go out and multiply. And my uncle will tell you, it's because he's rich and he just keeps getting richer. And it's not because the rich get richer. It's what the rich mentality decides to do with the talent that they're given. So I'm going to ask you today, are you living with the poor mentality or rich mentality? Because if you live with the poor mentality, the opposite of the rich getting richer is the poor keeps getting poorer. And you don't want to fall into that shame spiral. You don't want to fall into that terrible space to be in where like the life is sucked out of you, the energy sucked out of you, the money sucked out of you. You want to have that rich mindset because the rich multiply, the poor subtract. Now, if you want to be rich, I can't promise you anything other than the fact that if you do the work and you master the information that we give you at Break Free Academy Entourage, you can see success. We've got clients all over the world that are having six-figure months by building their business the Break Free Academy Entourage way. Make sure you sign up over at breakfreeacademy.com/entourage and figure it out. Which one of my uncles do you want to be like? I know which one I'm trying to be like. Make sure you share this on social media. We'll catch you back next week for Whiteboard Wednesday. Later.